Hi, everyone. My name is Sharess Rodriguez, and I am the founder of Systems for Success here. This came about because of my 20 years of working with businesses and entrepreneurs and being able in software. I dealt with software. I ran a healthcare organization for many years. We did a lot of outsourced work. And so I first grew my team in the US and then expanded out into the Philippines, Peru, Mexico. And so over the last 20 years that I've been in business, I've been, the freedom of having your own business, but sometimes it doesn't feel like freedom. Boy, can I tell you, sometimes I feel like a slave to my business, but it does give me the freedom to do what I want when I want. In a lot of those roller coaster moments, there were so many times I realized I wasn't doing the things that I really wanted to do, or I reached burnout quite a few times in my 20-year business career. But one of the biggest reasons that burnout would happen is because either I was working with a client that just wouldn't get their systems down, or I didn't have the systems down. And early on in my leadership and in my entrepreneur period, I wasn't the best entrepreneur either, right? And so as I started to evolve and understand how to be a better leader, how to delegate more, how to build a team, how to motivate and empower my team to do things for me and not rely on me, switching from that, like, I need to do it all because no one can do it like me mentality to, if I need to be the one that teaches them exactly how I want it to be done. I have to have the right systems and processes in place so that they can follow what I want. If not, then how do they really know, right? And if we are not clear as entrepreneurs, which is what I find a lot of, then it makes it very, very difficult for the team to deliver exactly what we want, the way we want it, how we want it, when we want it, and all of the above. So one of the things that is the most important thing is to make sure that even if you're a solopreneur, and this is really fun for me right now, by the way, I'm in a stage in my life where I'm walking away from big corporations, working with big companies. I've known to be a person who helps businesses scale, putting the systems in place so that they can scale. Most of the time they have big teams. They have a system they want to incorporate, or they are growing so fast that they you have those growing problems sometimes and those growth spurts, and they don't have the systems to support that, or they don't have the team players to support that. And so that's where I would come in and build teams behind them, train the teams, build the systems, the processes, the SOPs, all of that stuff that at some point gets, when you're doing that all the time, I got bored of it. Yet I'm great at it. That's the problem, right? Sometimes we're really great at things that we don't quite enjoy and love to do. And so now, as I'm shifting, some of you may know that we launched Pipeliner, a software CRM kind of program. It's a go high level white label. But we're adding our own flares to it. And I have connected and now been in a circle of regenerative health practitioners, which I've had a 20-year healing journey that at some point I will share. And so now being in a circle of practitioners, and I'm studying to be a practitioner as well, amongst everything, but also found a beautiful niche with network marketing. And never in my career or life did I think that network marketing was going to be for me, because I was used to working with big companies, big organizations that had their staff, had their employees. I grew them. I never considered anything in the network marketing. And I'm finding that is the part that's probably been the thing that I have been lacking so much, is the community and the way that people build together and build teams together. So it's just another enhancement. And as we evolved in our business, things are going to change, and things are going to, things are going to get better. We're going to figure out more and more what we really want and what we don't want. But one thing I want to let you know right from the bat in some of my lessons, and today I want to start this off as like our foundation for what the next weeks will come about. I want to talk about what are the things that as a solopreneur, as somebody with a team, what are the things that you need to start setting up so that you can grow? And growth can mean anything. Growth doesn't mean that you have to have a team of 10 or a team of 5. It could mean that you are growing in your personal self and in the people you serve. You're growing in your mission. And like, what is your mission? My mission and purpose, my purpose has stayed the same a lot, but I've seen it in different ways over the years. But it's evolved a lot. And I'm very oftentimes very, very clear on where I want to go and what it's going to take to get there. But then I also have the flexibility to know that God and the universe may have another plan for me, and that I may get, been knocked down on the way because I'm going the wrong way, but there is no wrong way at the end of the day. So I want to challenge you to think of a few foundational things, and also have you think about some of the things if you've set up yet for whatever the growth is. And so number one would be, do you know why you're doing what you're doing right now? Like, the why behind everything is so important. And once you know your why, then it makes it so much easier to really tie in everything you do and to make sure that all of that aligns with your why. So what is your ultimate goal in running a business? Where do you see yourself? Who do you want to help? How do you want to help? Who do you want to serve? What do you want to have? How do you want to live? What's the lifestyle that you want? What does that look like? Can you picture that why and that, the how always comes later. So we're not going to worry about the how today. We're going to talk about the why and making sure that you're clear about that. So when you're thinking about your why, why are you here? I ask myself that so much. Why am I here? Why did I get this privilege to be on this earth at this time with the people I get to meet and get to play with and get to love and to be in relationships with, get to experience places? And so for me, there's always been a bigger calling. And so I know that I'm here to serve. And I think as business owners or leaders, we're all here to serve in a way. We're here to share something that we're passionate about, share something we're knowledgeable about. You don't have to be totally passionate. I ran a business that I wasn't super passionate about for 10 years, but I had a lot of knowledge in it because my work experience took me there. And so because of that knowledge, I was able to create the systems and everything I needed and gain the experience so that I could pivot and do other things that I love. And so I still look at those things as wins. But I knew at the time when I started off, my kids, like, I was a single mom and I did not have, their dad was not active. And I had a family that wasn't necessarily supportive. And I had come from domestic violence and very tragic incidents and families with addiction and stuff like that. And so I had a mission to break that cycle. I got pregnant at 18, and I was like, oh my gosh, I was an addict myself. I had just gotten clean too. And then I got pregnant and I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Like, I'm a hot mess. And I was on a mission to make sure that I did not provide that life for my children, that I was going to be the game changer, that if I had survived so many of the things that I had survived, that somehow I was meant to do something big in this world. And I think that we all have a story. And sometimes we don't necessarily think we have that story, but we do. And so it's also important to tie that part of your story to your why, so that when you start looking at what it is you want to do, how you want to grow, who you're going to serve, you're connecting it to your why. So that's my number one tip, is knowing your why 100% of the time. And then the number two part is to really be clear on what, who is it you're going to serve? So who is your avatar? What services are you going to provide? what products are you going to sell, those type of things. You really must, and I'm gonna spend a little time on this because for so long I was serving a community that I didn't love to serve, right? In healthcare, I worked with doctors and I worked with lawyers, and they were hard on me. They beat my nervous system. They expected a lot. I expected a lot of myself. I over delivered a lot. And so, but I wasn't like at the time, yes, I was clear. I service doctors and I help lawyers, right? With back office support and systems and software and automations and all that kind of stuff. But it wasn't like it didn't fire me up. And so, yes, I would get clients, but I never really got to that point where it was like, oh my gosh, this is the best. I feel the best business I've ever had. It felt like a chore all the time, like a lot, but I did it, right? It paid the bills. It put my kids through school. It put, they played baseball in every sport you could think of. And so we got to travel and do things. But now what I'm realizing is there's so many people that talk about your avatar and your knowing who you serve. And now I know more than ever how important that is, because when you, like, everything you do must speak towards them. You must know what are the things they like, what are the things that where do they go, what information do they consume best, what is their age group, what are their hobbies, what are all these things that they do, so that when you are launching something or you are in business, you are speaking to that person every single time. You want to name that person, whatever that person's name is. And 35-year-old Sally is a mother trying to start up a new business, and really maybe doesn't have all the systems in place. Or you can think of whatever your avatar is. It could be a woman or a married woman or a man who's trying to get his health back. And if you're serving like people with nutrition and fitness or anything, right? You really want to know where are the places they consume, what do they do, what do they want, again, and what is their why. If you could figure out what their why is, it's an even bigger win. So what is their why, but who are they? And that way, that should be number one thing you do, or one of the first things you do before you start marketing. And that way, all of your marketing talks directly to them. So I was never a marketing pro. And back then, I actually had left a hospital. And so it was very easy for me to get clients because I had a reputation. People knew I knew my stuff. And so I never had to do marketing. I would send an email out saying, okay, I'm open for a couple clients. And yes, isn't that beautiful? I mean, that's why I ran that business, because I could get clients. I'd go to a convention. I'd just start talking about all the stuff I know, the systems I was creating. So I never had to market. And then when I got out of healthcare, boy, was that a big rude awakening. I wasn't getting clients. Nobody knew me. So it wasn't like I already had that like, know, and trust. I had to now get out there. And as I was doing that, I was failing. I wasn't hitting my target audience. I was all over the place, right? Posting about this and posting about that. And so now that I've gotten very, very clear on who I serve, which for me, it's always been leaders and entrepreneurs. I have just such I am entrepreneurial. I want to talk shop all the time. If you're ever around me, we talk business, but we also talk spirituality, and we also talk about regenerative health and exercise and nutrition and all that stuff. But it's always this beautiful mix of all of that. But now that I've targeted that, isn't it interesting that my followers have gone down by 50 in the last a few weeks that I started really revamping? But I'm starting to attract to those. And the part of the entrepreneur and the leader are the coaches and the network marketers. That is who my target audience now is. And it's filling my soul. So I know that, and I am generating more clients. I am speaking directly to them when I talk. And it is the magic behind all that you're going to do with your marketing. So make sure you know what that is. Another thing I want to talk about, which, by the way, in our session this afternoon, I'm going to, we have two other sessions after this. I'm going to show you how to put them to play. Some of these things we're talking about, how to build that persona at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time using an AI tool, and at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time using like systems, how to put this in systems, do some of this in systems, right? But so anyway, the next thing is, not everybody has to have a business plan, right? You only need a business plan, a formal, drawn out business plan, if you are really going to go for investors and money. But I have what, if you're not, I still always, always, always have some sort of a business plan that keeps me on the direction of where I want to go. My executive statement, like, what do I stand for? My why, my values. Like, do you all know your values? That was the biggest thing. Wow, once I want to tell a story about this. I had finally figured out, officially put on paper, probably 2019, my value statement and my values. And it just felt so good in the order. It was 10 values, but the top 5, and it just like, oh yes. And what I had agreed to do is make sure that everything I do aligns with my values, period. Every decision I make, it either aligns with my values or it doesn't. And so I did that for a while. And there was a period where I had a lot of losses in my family. My grandfather passed away. My uncle passed away. My cousin, God bless him, in the matter of weeks. And the thing is that they were sick in months before. And so it was very, very hard. And I made a decision to go partner with a business based on, I just was ready to run. I wanted to hide from those feelings and the grief. I couldn't, being around a lot of people, but I did it. I realized very soon after making a whole move to another state, and being in there, I realized that my values weren't aligning with the values of the business and the main owner of the business, who would potentially be my partner. And I just knew, and I would say it, but I kept pushing it because it was like, well, I took this chance. I moved across the country. I'm going to make this work because I'm not a quitter. But the thing was, all along, my values did not align. Does that mean that their values were wrong? Absolutely not at all. But my values are mine, your values are yours. And unless our values align, most of the time, it's going to be very different for us to see eye to eye, or for us to have a long-term relationship, right? You think about, I've had horrible business experiences. And when I look back, our values were completely misaligned. So that was a big lesson for me after knowing that, then going backwards and getting into something that didn't align. And now it is so super clear that people need to check off and be close and very similar to where my values are before I will invest in them, or before I will partner or strategize, or go into business with someone, or even a client. I've had a client even just recently that I just say, you know what, this isn't working out. We do not share the same values. I think that you would be better off being serviced by somebody else, served by someone else. And, they were really shocked, but then they really appreciated that we're just not going to align on some things. So knowing your values is so important. Being clear on the services you offer and what that means for them. Like, how are you solving their problem? There's the before and after bridge that I like to do. What are they feeling now without you? What will they feel later? And how do you bridge that gap? And I do that with like my health and with anything I do. Like, where am I now? Where do I want to be? And how do I get there? How do I bridge the gap? And so that's a tool that I like to use a lot in being able to get to where I want to go, right? So the other thing is, knowing your brand identity is really important. What's the tone? How do you speak? Who are you? Like being able to put an identity to your brand and then stepping in it all the time. And for like most of my business career, who I was personally was so different than who I was professionally. And that came from detachment in my childhood and growing up, really wanting to be detached from that. I did not know how to combine them both because I was working so hard to be this better version of me that was completely the polar opposite of what I felt I was at the moment or at the time. And so I morphed. I really, like, I built this person, that who I am today, and I'm proud of that. But during that process, many times I hid some of the most important things about me that make me who I am today, including hiding my story and not talking about the things I had gone through, which are beautiful life lessons now, once we go through a healing process and honor and own and the things that have happened to us. But the beauty is that once you can connect your identity with your business identity, it's powerful. So many of you may be doing that. And if you are, you probably can attest to how amazing that feels to show up as you in your business all the time in the identity you want to. And so one question I want to pose you all is, what do you want people to know you for? In business, in personal life, like, this is empowering business success, but it's all about us, empowering us. And being self-empowered is the most important thing too. But really, in reality, what do you want to be known for? When I started thinking about that, I was like, do I want to be known for helping doctors and lawyers get rich? No, that was a no. That was a big no. Do I want to be known for helping coaches and health practitioners and wellnesspreneurs and people who have products that are changing lives? Yes, 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 yes. If my business is going to serve, I want it to serve people who are doing the things that are going to create the impact that I want to create as well. Most of you may not know this, but I consider myself a social entrepreneur. And so I tie my business with what I want to do socially, and philanthropically. And so I was able to, and I feel like this is an I show, but I'm talking to myself, looking at myself here in the Zoom. So hopefully we will grow this and have you all in the Zoom to participate with me. But I ended up using my business to build an orphanage for currently where 50 kids are still housed today. We moved them in 2017, I believe, 17 or 18. And it's a beautiful property, and we grow some of the vegetation there for the kids to eat, and we have sports, and we built a psychology program that really helped a lot of these kids with their trauma that they had come in with. So that to me fuels me in business. Like, I know that I can make an impact through my own business, but now my bigger goal is to help other people be able to do that, because now my reach is bigger. If I could help you all reach your goals in impacting or serving other people, then it's a win-win. And so think about you in that case. What do you want? What do you want people to remember you by? Right? So that's another important thing. And then think about the next thing I think about on my business plan. Now I'm still talking about business plan here, is what are my goals for the year? Now, if you can't think past the year, of course, 5-year goals, 10-year goals, I love stuff like that. But a lot of times it's really hard, especially for the startup or somebody new, or even the coach. So like, I don't know where I'm going to be in 10 years. What I ask you to do is to envision what you want your life to look like in 10 years, right? What does that look like? In 5 years, what do you want your life to look like in 5 years? What do you want it to look like in a year? How does it look now? And how do you want it to look at those stages? That way you can reverse engineer what you need to do to get there. So when I think about the 5-year goal or the 10-year goal, I also tie my values, right? Because we want to make sure we don't forget about our values, and also look at what will it take me to get there. And I start to, like I said, reverse engineer it. What do I need to do now that eventually will get me there? right? So I really think about the things that I do on a daily basis and ask myself, will this get me to my 10-year goal, my 5-year goal, or what life wants to look like at that time? And so you could really think about that. And then you could piece it up and think of, okay, for this year, what do I want to accomplish this year? And what do I want to live? How do I want to live? Where do I want to be? What do I want to have all that clear. And then what do I need to do? And so I always set up three yearly goals that align to 3 strategies. So when I say strategies, I think of better systems so I can have freedom. Let's say I want, in a year from now, I want to have the freedom to go anywhere I want to go. Let's just say I have that now. But I'm just going to say that. Or let's say I want to go back to Bali next year. I'm staying in Mexico for a little while, but let's just say, so what does that look like if I wanted to go to Bali next year and work remotely like I did for, a few years back? What do I have to do to create that freedom? So to put systems in place so that I could that was one of them, operations, business, whatever it was. And so that was one of my streams, one of my strategies. And then under there, what was the goal? What do I have to have achieved in order to have all that in place, right? So I had to implement, let's just say, a CRM, right? Or I have to get everything electronic. I have to have a website so that I can sell my products online. Or I get to, let's not say have to, I get to, but I need to set up these things, right? So you start to think in terms of that from the get-go. What are the things I need to set up so that in a year, this happens? The next strategy, many times for me was the amount of money I needed, right? So sales, what do I need to do to bring in the sales now so that I could afford to just pack up and take off for 3 years? And then I had to reverse engineer it. What did that mean? Okay, I have to sell more CRM systems. I have to get more subscribers. I need to have more, back now my business has shifted again this year, but before I had to have more consulting clients. I had to have more coaching clients. And I had to have more outsourced clients in the Philippines with seats is what we call it. And so what do I need to do that? So one of my goals back then, or one of the strategies was we're going to launch a LinkedIn campaign to be able to target people who potentially are looking to grow and scale their business. The year before last, I did a lot of free talks on Clubhouse. A couple of years ago, I did really great offers on virtual assistant packages. And so I was just out there till I could reach that magic number, and it happened, right? Because I had the strategies in place. And what was the third? Oh, the third was to have a team that fully took care of everything so that I could have that freedom. And I was able to do that, but I was really clear. What did I need? What did I need to make that happen? And a lot of it was me documenting all of the processes, documenting all the things, getting into a real strategic way so that I could pass on my knowledge the way I wanted so that the team could do the things that I need them to do so that I could have the freedom. So with that said, I'll spend a little bit of time. Actually, I'm going to check the Facebook group really quick. Hi, Shika. Half hour. Oh, good, Melinda. Well, you got the good one, good part of this. Great to see you, Shika. Okay, so the other thing I want to say is when you are, and then we'll cut this short, or not short, we're going to end here in a few. I don't want to make these too long. When you start thinking about what you need to do I want you to think of systems. And I want you to think of every time that systems and people, let's do that, systems and staff. Every time you do something, this is your challenge, your homework. Every time you do something in your business, I want you to make sure you document those steps somewhere on a Google Doc, anywhere. You can use Loom. You get free 25 videos. You can use Zoom. You can record those. You record yourself doing it. And by the way, you can record yourself doing it. And there are apps that you can put your recording in, and it'll give you your steps that you need to do and your SOPs. So that'll be on another day that I can go over. But I want you to start thinking about all the things you're doing that you get to delegate, that you get to either hire or give away. And maybe there aren't. Maybe you're not going to scale that way. Maybe it's going to be a standalone person, but you want systems in place to do the things for you. Well, systems, we can put our brain, our systems in a software, and it could do so much for us. I get people ask me all the time, I doubt we can do this, but I just want to ask. And I'm like, yes, we can do that. I can automate that. I can put that in a process. And they're like, oh my God. So most things that do not need like me, I suppose I could use a software today to have just given a script and had AI present this to you. So I technically didn't have to be here today if I didn't want to. I could put this with an AI that looks like me and just goes out there and talks. But anyway, that's not what I'm going to do because I enjoy being with you all. But the point being is that most things can be systemized unless it needs your personal touch, unless you absolutely like shipping and, things that you have to manually do. But can some of those order processing happen behind the scenes? Absolutely. So I want you to start thinking about that and message in the chat, and I'll put our little steps in here. Go ahead and write in the group, what are the things that you need to document? What are the things that you want to systemize? What are the things that you want to stop doing? And what are the things you want to do more of? So today I kind of was a little bit all over the place. I'm talking from like really getting you ready to grow, to scale, to love what you're doing, to be able to do it with ease and grace, and to be able to live anywhere or be anywhere and have that freedom, or to give more for your family or to do more for your community. It's all up to you and what you want. And I'm here to help you guide that. So thank you for being here today. We'll be doing this every single week at this time. You can join me in the Zoom room, and so we could have some live chats. We can also, you can also come at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, where I'm going to show Pipeliner, which is the system I use, and go over some of the things. So if there's something you absolutely want to see, drop it in the chat, and I will show that. This afternoon at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I will be showing you how I create that business plan and some of those things inside my Ruby AI. So thank you all. Love you, and I will see you soon.